You know, World War II is full of these absolutely incredible stories. Tales about soldiers doing things that sound like they were ripped straight from a comic book. But what if the most interesting part of the story isn't what happened, but who is telling it?
Okay, let's just start with this question, because it sounds completely insane, right? Could a single soldier, on his own, actually capture 100 enemy troops and then, go on to liberate an entire city? It sounds impossible, but it's a story that has been celebrated as fact for decades.
So, the man, the myth, the legend at the center of this story is Leo Major. He was a scout in the Canadian Army. And get this, early on, a phosphorus grenade went off in his face and he lost sight in his left eye. The army tried to send him home, but he was like, nope, not happening. He supposedly told them all he needed was his good eye to aim, and besides, he kind of looked like a pirate now.
Yeah, that injury did not slow him down one bit. Not long after losing his eye, on a mission by himself, Leo Major supposedly captured this many German soldiers. 93. By himself, the question is, how on earth did he manage that?
Well, the story does like this. He found and captured a couple of German scouts, but instead of taking them back, he made them take him straight to their commanding officer. And then he just lays it on thick. He tells the commander he's just the advanced scout for a massive Canadian force, and that artillery is about to wipe the entire village off the map unless they all surrender to him right now. And it worked. The German officer, probably stunned by the sheer nerve of this guy, surrendered his entire garrison. For that little stunt, they offered him the Distinguished Conduct Medal, which is a really big deal. But he turned it down, just flat out refused. Why? Because the guy who was supposed to give it to him was General Montgomery, a commander Leo blamed for some bad calls and unnecessary casualties. This just goes to show you what kind of person we're dealing with. A man who lived by his own code.
But hold on, the story doesn't stop there. As if capturing almost 100 guys single-handedly wasn't enough, this is the number of soldiers it took to free the Dutch city of Zwolle. 1. And you can probably guess who that one soldier was.
Okay, so his commanders were planning to shell the city of Zwolle before the main attack, which would have killed countless civilians. Leo basically said, let me go check it out first. So he went in alone. All night long, he just ran around the city like a madman, firing his machine gun, chucking grenades, making it sound like a whole army was invading. He even attacked the SS headquarters and set it on fire. By sunrise, the entire German garrison had packed up and fled, convinced they were about to be overrun.
Leo Major's story is, it's the stuff of legends. But it's so important to look at the whole picture here. So now, let's pivot and look at a soldier from the other side whose story is just as unbelievable and see how they stack up. This is Michael Wittmann. He was a German tank commander, so feared they nicknamed him the Black Baron. In Germany, he was an absolute national hero, one of the most decorated and deadly tank aces of the entire war. And this chart really tells you why. In just a single year fighting on the Eastern Front, he and his crew racked up these insane numbers. 119 tanks destroyed, 132 anti-tank guns taken out. Numbers like that made him a poster boy for the German war machine. Now, a huge part of Wittmann's success was the tank he was driving, the Tiger I, and our source material puts it perfectly. Facing a Tiger tank was like showing up to a monster truck rally on a scooter. It was a beast. Its armor was incredibly thick, and its main gun could tear through pretty much anything the Allies had. His most legendary moment was at the Battle of Villers-Bocage. Look at this timeline. In about half an hour, he spotted a British armored column, ambushed it, and then went on a rampage through the town, knocking out vehicle after vehicle. He single-handedly stopped an entire British offensive cold before his own tank was finally knocked out and his crew had to bail. So, let's pause here for a second. We have two soldiers, two almost superhuman stories of incredible skill and courage. Leo Major, the one-eyed Allied hero, and Michael Wittmann, the Nazi tank ace. So here's the million-dollar question. Why is one story treated as this legendary feat, while the other is so often dismissed as just inflated propaganda? And this is where it gets really, really interesting. Look at this breakdown. Wittmann's story, yes, it was used heavily by Nazi propaganda, but his actions were also well documented by his crew, his platoon, and other units. Lots of people saw what he did. Leo Major's story, on the other hand, mainly comes from Allied reports and newspaper articles, and his biggest, most amazing feats, well, they just happened to occur when he was completely alone. And here is the absolute kicker. The source we're looking at points this out very clearly. When Leo Major captured those 93 soldiers, his partner, Corporal Wolfred, was supposedly too sick to go with him. And then, when he liberated Zval, that same partner was with him at the very beginning of the mission, but was killed almost immediately. For both of his most legendary accomplishments, the only possible witness was, well, conveniently out of the picture.
It all kind of leads you back to that old famous saying, doesn't it? History is written by the victors. Is it possible that the story we prefer to believe, the one that becomes a legend, has more to do with which side won the war than what the actual evidence says?
And that's really what this all boils down to. This isn't about calling anyone a liar or kicking away from their bravery. It's about thinking critically. The next time you hear one of these unbelievable historical tales, it's worth asking yourself a simple question. Who's telling me this story and why?